seedings for these European Tour events are based on the Pro Tour order of merit rather than the world rankings.
Absolutely correct. There's two separate rankings, and like you say, the Pro Tour rankings. This is how the guys have fared in various Pro Tours.
And if you haven't got to the business end of enough tournaments or not entered enough of these tournaments, then that's where you might find yourself lower down the rankings than maybe people watching would expect.
That's right. People like, Barney, I mean, I'm not sure what his ranking is in it, but it's not number one where you'd expect him to be up in the top 5, and he's probably down maybe 16, 17, that type of thing.
Yes, we've had to see him qualify for some of these European Tour events this season, Barney.
Indeed.
But he's a real character, Richie, and again a player who can really turn it on his day, and can still pull out the sort of performance that took him to that BDO World Crown nearly 20 years ago, incredibly to think of that.
Someone like Richie, he defines how you throw a dart as well. When you go on about balance, I was on about Dennis Ovens, absolutely straight and correct with his throw. You watch Richie's last dart, it can be a really exaggerated, we call it an exaggerated snatch of the throw of the dart.
137.
It's pretty much like Jockey Wilson used to have.
Well, I was going to say, there's a touch of the Jockey Wilsons about the snatch on that last dart.
Definitely. Rich's head goes back. I mean, it does everything wrong to the sport, but goes right. So it suits him.
59.
And that's what it's all about.
And Dave Chisnell's another one who's prone to the odd snatchy dart.
Definitely. With Chizzy's not as exaggerated as Richie. And you've got like John Henderson who played earlier on. His rock, he rock and
like a pendulum.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It's they get the dart in the end result. That's the main thing, So
137.
And I mentioned Wes playing in the Premier League the last 2 years and eliminated with the new format with the sort of relegation zone put in, and that Premier League it really can make or break a player, can't it? Week in, week out, playing in front of 8, 9, 10,000 people, and you know that each week you're never going to get an easy game. You're going to play the world's top players week in, week out, and there's no hiding place, is there?
No hiding place at all. It's absolutely ruthless, and it really is. I mean, he's nicknamed the Warrior. Oh, this could be a tops. Oh, great take. Brilliant.
A 139 checkout to get his first leg on the board. Well, that's a cracking start. No, it's certainly no problems with Wes Newton warming up and getting used to the stage there.
Straight, he's very used to the stage, Wes. I mean, he's nicknamed the Warrior, for a very, very good reason. He is exactly that. He's a battler, he's a fighter, and he's in the top 10 in the world, so that shows how good he really is.
140.
Georgian Oval. Calling the scores. Starting to get a bit warm up there as well, Mike. It's
yes, we've seen a number of players having to mop their brow between shots or take a gulp of water, and a few more people have come in after work, and a little bit more noise, a bit more atmosphere
that's it.
Inside now, and the next 2 days you can guarantee it'll be full up in here for Saturday and Sunday.
Definitely, it'll be full up and noisy. They're starting now, as you can hear, but you can't put air conditioning on because that affects the darts. So, and it's beautiful weather outside, up in the early 30s, I think, at the moment.
96.
So, hey, nice hot and sticky day. That's rules for the day. That's good darts.
92.
There's 170. Let's see how they're thinking all the time with their numbers. Richie won't want to hit a straight 60 here, because that'll leave him on a bogey. So he'll be thinking about, well, that's all with it anyway. Is it 23? So 199 left.
Having a word with himself.
He does. Tells himself off an awful lot. That's a great dart. Done well. Wes will go for this now because Richie's on a finish if he gets a 60-60. That's unlucky, just outside. Set it up a treat. Bull or treble 18.
105. Richie required 39.
Exactly what Wes took out in the first leg.
Yes,
Richie can't
do it now.
Let's put pressure on it. Put pressure on it.
So 25 and tops.
Yes, I think so. There we go. Tops.
2 10s
Got
and
it.
gets it for a 2-0 lead. And yes, there are some players like Richie who wear their heart on their sleeve, and other players who, if you were to see them on the hockey, you wouldn't know whether they were 5-0 up or 5-0 down. Absolutely show zero emotion.
You certainly know where you are with Richie. You really, really do. Someone like, when you're saying about that, I always thought that of Ronnie Baxter. He was always smiling, you know, whether he was 6 up, 6 down. Expressionless with respect to that.
The winner of this will play Ian White, who's seeded 9 here this weekend, and another player who quietly goes about his business, but a good player and putting in some good performances, isn't he?
Ian White's a very, very good player. Got beat in the final with the very last news of the world by Phil Taylor, so that shows how good he is to get to, to get to that final is incredible. And
180.
Richie's going to have to watch this here. He don't want to be whitewashed. That's great.
Back-to-back 180s. That's what the crowd have come to see here.
Haven't they just?
100. Richie required 121.
Capitalise on that 180 to the way he's got it back. Here we go. 11 ball. Oh, double 18. That's a great dart. Fantastic dart.
A great way to get back into the game, and needed to do that, as you say, I think, to stop the rot, because
59.
Wes was flying, wasn't he?
He was pretty much on his knees, wasn't he? And he hit the 180 back to back, off of Wes Newton's one, and the 1-2-1 out, clinical. It's lovely. But that was only to hold his throw. Still needs to break, Wes. This is good stuff.
139.
That's not enough, I'm afraid. Ooh.
77.
With these European Tour events back-to-back weekends from Salzburg and this weekend in Gibraltar, I think some players have decided to make their way down and have a few days in Spain, haven't they, rather than going back home to the UK and then coming back out here. And I think we were all relieved that the French air traffic controllers strike was called off on Wednesday night before we were due to fly out here on Thursday morning, because that could have caused a few problems. But I've seen a few of the seeds wandering around and watching the action here, and in the practice room just sort of soaking up the atmosphere and getting themselves prepared for their matches tomorrow, which is good to see.
You'll certainly see that with the top pros. That's what they tend to do. Like you just say, they soak it all up, get a feel of where they're going to be playing a little bit later on, back in the office, so to speak. And what you should do is you prep. And like I say, the guys coming out here a couple of days beforehand,
121.
they get themselves all nice haircuts, they get a relaxed feel, and it's a lovely way to prepare for a tournament.
Double 18 for 3-1.
Shot and a full flag. Always do.
And he's looking pretty good early on.
They flag Richie to throw first. Game on.
And the last start that Richie threw that last leg was a perfect example of the snatch, but that was effective because it hit the treble 20. But it works for him.
It did.
Somehow.
But the other thing I noticed there is when Wes took the 96 out, Richie behind him was shaking his head. You know, Richie beats himself up a lot of the times. And, you know, need to keep the control on it. You don't become world champion for nothing, you know, and he's got the fighting qualities.
125.
There we go, ton plus finishes. Richie 1-2-1, Wes 1-3-9.
109.
Says Wes hits another 180.
His second of the match.
Richie needs to respond big.
100.
Don't know if that's big enough. Don't know if that's big enough. This is Richie's throw. Yeah, this could hurt. Ooh,
140.
it's basically a complete throw behind now. 180 here would be fantastic to leave double 18. 140 would help. Oof.
Has to settle for a ton.
He does. He does.
So for a 4-1 lead then.
Yeah, 9 double 16 or one tops. Ooh.
61. Richie 116.
This is not a bad shot out because you've got the first two darts at the treble 20. So he's still got a chance. Treble 20 to leave double 18. 76 left. So he's getting frustrated with himself. You can see it. He gets.
Just regaining his composure, and it paid off. But it may be in vain with Newton poised on double top. Double 10. And yes, 4-1 now. And lots of work to do for Richie Burnett, who we can see him pacing up and down at the back of the stage there.
Getting frustrated with himself. He's one shot behind. He's one shot behind having to go at the double, you know, and I think that's what's frustrating him. And of course, Wes has just broke him again, so this is always a tough match for him anyway.
Another good one next on stage. Vincent van der Voort up against Kevin Painter. That should be a goodie.
44.
Vincent absolutely flying at the moment, and off the back of that win in Austria last weekend that we saw.
And of late, Kev seems to have been struggling a little bit on the tour. He's getting there, but he's struggling a bit, you know. It's a new day today. Really average.
125.
Terrific averages. You can tell the big boys are up on the stage there. Look at that, they're both averaging nearly 100, 99 point odd each. You know, it's world class starts from world class players.
Yep, another high quality affair.
That's a good average for Wes, 57%. That's marvellous. Anything over 33 is good. That means you're hitting it 1 in 3 at least.
38.
Right, Richie's got a good chance here to break Wes. He needs a nice big score now. That's a great dart to start with. It really is a lovely one. That's even better. Second one, the third one goes in. Happy days. There we go.
190.
Burnett second of the match and on for a potential 14 darter.
140.
But a good bit of pressure put on the shot by Wes there.
Going down, that's it. Tops. 10.
Double 10.
32.
That'll frustrate Richie, especially if Wes takes this out. It goes 17 here. 51-24. Yeah, in a minute. Where are we going? 35, double 8.
Well, Wes knew where he was going, luckily,
did.
and he goes to within one leg of victory now. 5-1 up and looking very good indeed, with Ian White awaiting the winner tomorrow. Just doing a bit of running repairs, Richie, I think, which again is probably the last thing you need when things aren't going your way.
That's right.
And those things can be so fiddly to get in your flights, or if your stem breaks, or at this stage of the... and it's nice that Wes is helping him out here with a with a bit of equipment.
They're enemies on the stage, but believe you me, they're all buddies off of it. You know, it's they'll all be there to help each other anyway.
Just talk amongst yourself, folks.
Have a little chat. Why not? It's only 5-1. Richie to throw. Here we go.
Seven play Richie to throw first. Game on.
Stem snap too. That's what he's saying there.
Well,
not a good start. Not a good start.
Probably wishes he hadn't borrowed one of Wes's stems then. At that rate.
Yeah, Wes is
he's giving him a dodgy one.
That's better. He's squared out there.
100.
Richie's sitting just at 60 behind at the moment. He needs to get that. That's leveled the scores. 180 and really give him a chance to push on. 60 ahead now. That's good. Come on. Great darts.
190.
His third maximum of the match.
85.
But still finds himself 5-1 down, but should be favourite really to get to a double first. That was an important last treble.
A very important last one. Where's he starting having the hooks into the fives at the minute? That's good dart.
84. Review 115.
Nice to take this out. 95, 57 double. So is that
it's hit treble 3.
29, 86. Treble 18 he'll probably go for.
47. Where you require 147.
Snooker's maximum.
Won't take it out now, so
60.
Burnett, this is where he needs to start clawing back some of these legs.
That's a good dart. Double 4. Just inside.
64.
That's the pull down. That's a snatch when he pulls it.
Yeah, that was well wide of the double 2. So for the match.
Here. Oh, here we go. Double 18. Double 9 for the match. That's it. That's it.
Shot. And the match.
Convincing stuff from the man from Fleetwood in Lancashire. A 6-1 victory over Richie Burnett. And it's Wes Newton who goes on to round 2 to take on Ian White. Our first game of the afternoon session tomorrow, that will be. Coming up next on stage, off the back of his win in Austria last weekend, Vincent van der Voort up against Kevin Painter.